CTV News, Mike.com, and Vice, all in the business of delivering the news. Despite layoffs, closures, and a changing media landscape, these companies and many others are still hiring journalists. What's changing is who they're hiring.
In this day and age, there's a lot more to it. It's not just how to put that on a piece of paper. It's how could I tell this in a Snapchat story? How could I involve a videographer? What kind of art is going into this?
And that's what Slade Somer is doing here in Mike's New York City office. As the managing editor of news, he's training new journalists how to tell their stories on a variety of platforms.
How is this going to play on Tumblr? How is this going to play, like I said, on Snapchat, on Facebook Live?
For those who are watching at home, we're going to have a
Understanding the latest social trends is pretty easy here. This group working to shape the future and rethink the world is young. The average age of Mike's editorial staff of 70 is 27.
The fact of the matter is you have to do everything you can to get the most amount of eyeballs to your story and then the most amount of people sharing that story once they have read it.
But Somer admits, regardless of the platform, the story is what really counts.
And story choice is the number one thing. And if there's one thing I could tell any new journalist, it's be better than everyone at story choice.
And prepare to chase. Here in Toronto at CP24, managing editor and news anchor Stephanie Smythe says finding a strong story is what makes all journalists, new and established, stand out.
They've got to be curious. They have to be curious and they have to be relentless in many ways in the chase for the information.
The head of content for Vice Canada, Patrick McGuire, says journalists need to be driven by their own passions and curiosities. That's what leads to strong storytelling.
We also want people that are coming in with a fresh take that can challenge us and also, challenge our readers and show them things that they haven't heard of before.
And the way to do that? Ask questions, and not just by email.
So many stories that we have broken here at CP24 are because we decided to pick up the phone and forego the email and other methods of communication, which are great. They're all great for sourcing people and everything, but getting on that phone, that connection is still great.
In addition to creating original content, organizations like Mike also expect journalists to produce some aggregated content. That is, using information and clips from other news outlets. The expectation around this, though, is that they will also add something new to the story.
We give our people the tools as best we can to say, yeah, you are building on someone's reporting, and we want you to do the best you can to not only source that, but to find additional sources, add as much value as humanly possible.
Millennials are everywhere, but what are they?
Sage Boggs is part of the team of 3 who research and write Mike Chat.
And if you Google millennials hate, the first autofill is cereal. What?
The 2 to 3 minute video aggregates content, but in a style reminiscent of late night comedy. Before joining Mike, Boggs was a video researcher for The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon.
We usually try to think of stories that would be conducive to a lot of clip-heavy stuff and a lot of jokes, stuff that we know is fruitful for jokes.
The content is fact-checked and then hosted from right here at Boggs' desk.
This is your mic check.
Vice shies away from aggregated content, although McGuire agrees if they do it, it's imperative new elements be added for it to work.
At the worst case, if we're just doing a quick 600-word hit, we at least want to pick up the phone and get a source on it that people haven't talked to yet to give some kind of added perspectives.
Being able to add new elements like graphics, an on-camera intro, or cut-together video requires a variety of skills not needed by journalists just a few years ago.
You need to walk into any newsroom that's hiring in the world and say, not only can I write this story, not only can I shoot this story myself, not only can I go live from the scene of a story, not only do I know how to get the best out of my sources, I can do all of these things in one day. And that's why you need me.
You should try every part of this job because even if you do get lucky enough to end up as a staff reporter where you're only really expected to be writing, you should dabble in all of those sides of the business to find out what you're really good at and what speaks to you. And then you need to find your voice, read a lot.
It's amazing how much reading, daily publications, monthly periodicals, anything, books, becomes an incredible resource to reporters because suddenly you have information that you can draw on.
And show what you know and your desire to know more right away.
Volunteer to work the extra hours. Come in on your own time if you can to learn or become better. Or just watch, as I said before, watch and consume take in as much as you can, absorb it all. Interns, there are some that come through here and instantaneously, that's when I want to hire. You can see that by the second they walk in the door, how they act in this job, how they, just contribute and want to contribute. And you can see that bright light. So you got to have a bright light, like show that things are going on in there. And you're not going to just sit and play around with the computer, say, how can I help? Here's what I think. Not what can I do, but here's what I can do for you.
McGuire started at Vice as an intern. He says be available to do whatever people ask you to do.
Taking some chances with yourself and being like, well, I don't know quite what I'm doing yet, but the fake it till you make it thing has a certain truth to it, for sure.
There has never been a better time to be a journalist, but you have to have the skills in order to make that work.
Read, write, shoot, edit, pick up the phone, create. Be fair, be balanced. Journalism is still a great story. The job of a new journalist is to decide how to tell it best. This is Kyle Christie reporting.